the Duval sub. The Duval comes with freshly sliced turkey ham, melted cheddar and habanero jack cheese, topped with crisp lettuce, fresh tomatoes, and a double portion of our secret sauce, all served on a fresh roll. Come by your local's Dailies Dash today to get your delicious Duval sub. Dailies is the official convenience store sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Electricians, innovators, and tech enthusiasts, listen up. Miller Electric is shaping the future, and we want you to be a part of it. From healthcare and data centers, corporate offices, aviation, and industrial facilities, Miller Electric is powering the most exciting projects in Jacksonville and beyond. We offer not just a job, but a thrilling career with great pay and incredible benefits. Visit us at millercareers.com to apply. Miller Electric, where your skills meet our vision, and equal opportunity employer.
This is Greg Huntington, a.k.a. The Mangler. I'm on the winning team at Waste Management. If your business needs sustainable environmental services for waste removal and recycling collection, then you can count on the industry leader of WM to deliver results. Go to WM.com.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. 120,000 miles of night drives, daily commutes, and who knows how many.
Are we there yet?
Through countless fixes, elbow grease, and a new radiator, you kept your ride alive. With eBay Motors, you have over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
1010XL breaks down training camp all day. Listen for camp news with analysis and insight from the practice feed. Everything counts! 1010XL's training camp coverage is brought to you by Roland Reach Plumbing and Kingfish Pest Control. 1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, more Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
I need you to put the word out, Tony. We back up, okay? At least streaming-wise. Apparently, Neil O'Brien came in here and said, let me pull this wire, cross them together, do a little splicey, and now all of a sudden we're back up streaming. So if you want to watch the program and see some handsome gentlemen other than myself and Tony, you can do that right now. Pockets Cam is working right there. Don't forget him in the corner pocket. Down there, and our man Al's sitting in with us. Demetrius Harvey is here, and you can check that out. So the YouTube virtual studio is back up, and I presume as well streaming on Twitter again as well, because, we've gotten to the point now where you can't just listen to radio. You have to watch your radio as well. All right, Jags, we just got an email. Jags announced new additions and promotions to the personnel staff. Here's what you need to know. Trent Baalke's still the GM, okay? So... I think most people right now, the Baalke haters are kind of like the cicadas. They're in hibernation, right? And they'll come out and be noisy as all hell if the situation gives itself to that. But for now, it's a pretty successful offseason overall, at least on paper. And you'll note as well, if you see this list somewhere later, Josh Scobie is a college scout. This is not our Josh Scobie. This is the Josh Scobie with a Y, we believe, the one who used to play running back for a brief time in the National Football League. So there's some other hirings, but, you don't really care about who got hired to the personnel department, at least this morning. All right, Demetrius, let's jump back in on this because I have the habit of pushing off a topic that I'd like to get to. You made the comment. Somebody asked, one of the first questions we got for you is who's that third pass rusher? You made the comment that Eric Armstead was probably that guy, and he'll be playing outside a lot. So what does that mean? Like every time he does play outside, that we're going to see Trayvon Walker slide inside? Will they almost have like interchangeable roles to some degree? How do you look at these guys?
That's how I look at it so far. The thing is, during OTAs and minicamp, they were moving guys around so much that you might as well just close your eyes. There was nothing really to see because there wasn't anything, implemented. And then obviously Eric was even on the field, so you don't really know exactly how they'll use him. But from my understanding, they're going to use him in terms of outside, inside, both ways, because they know that Trayvon can add some value inside. And I think that's something that they've said in the past that they want to get to, but they just haven't. And I think that with Ryan Nielsen coming in, he's going to be able to sort of explore all of what Trayvon's, talents are. Is he going to be able to get back to doing what he did at Georgia, which was, sort of playing inside a lot more, playing down a lot more, obviously, in a 4-3 scheme. I doubt he's going to be standing up a lot anymore. So, now you have a situation where you have flexibility, you have versatility, and then Eric Armstead comes in, he'll play outside, Trayvon can play inside, and then they can flip-flop. They can effortlessly flip-flop, and then you'll have Josh Allen. He's probably not going to play too much inside, obviously, but I think that he's another guy who can still do that somewhat every now and then. So
even if he doesn't line up there, they can run stunts in different games, and they've got better options now, depending on how the young LSU rookies develop, how quickly. In a perfect world, considering the contract extension they gave to him last offseason, would they like to see Devon Hamilton come in and take that other defensive tackle job?
Absolutely, and I think that he's the front runner still for the nose tackle position. I think that there's not much they have behind him. Obviously, they drafted Jordan Jefferson. They have guys like Adam Gotsis and different players. But yeah, Devon's a guy that they are depending on. They depended on him last year. Obviously he had that unfortunate, illness or back ailment that, sort of kicked him out of the first 10 weeks of the season, starting with the preseason and onward kind of. And he never really got back to where he should have been. And I think that they're expecting him. And, Doug has made the impression that, now Devon has sort of made that jump back and he has seen, that energy that he once had. And so now we're just going to have to see if that translates.
So where does Roy Robertson Harris fit in?
I mean, to me, he's a rotational guy, and he's somebody who can also play inside and out. I think that he's shown that. I'm not exactly sure. We'll sort of see, I guess, how Ryan Nielsen wants to use Roy Robertson Harris. He had I think it was a heel injury or some sort of injury during minicamp, and so he missed a bunch of time during OTAs and everything. But yeah, I think that he's a guy that sort of comes off the bench. In the past he was a starter, but now I think that now he's going to be more of a rotational player. And really, all of these defensive linemen, they sort of rotate in anyway. I doubt he's going to miss a lot of time. He's still going to play probably 40% of the snaps, things of that nature. So, I think that he still fits in. He's just more of a rotational piece rather than a guy that you count on every snap.
They were willing to spend a second and a fourth round pick on the defensive line this year as well. And on the interior with Mason Smith there in the second round, with Jordan Jefferson in the fourth round, what are your expectations for, or how would you judge a successful rookie season for Mason Smith as the second round pick of the team this year?
Yeah, I think that he's somebody that's going to take time, and I think that we all know that because he's a guy that didn't have consistent coaching at all at LSU in terms of the defensive line coach. I believe he had 4 or 5 different defensive line coaches in 3 years, and that's sort of something where now he's in a role where he knows what he's doing. He's going to stay in that role. He's going to be a 3 technique to start out. I don't, obviously in the future, they'll probably expand that a little bit. But he's somebody that's going to be making at least some sort of impact this year, in my opinion. I think that he's going to be somebody who can come in, play 3 tech, sort of spell Eric Armstead, spell, Trayvon snaps too. He's going to be playing inside. It just makes sense where he's not going to probably be the impact player that you want to have right away. But as the season gets going, as they're able to rotate him in more, I think that he's going to get the experience. And that freshman tape with LSU was really impressive, and I really don't think that you can discount it.
All right, Demetrius Harvey does have a day job, Tony. I feel like every time that he stops talking, he's got that phone because he's trying to put an update out there. So let's let him do his day job here for a minute. Let's say hello to our good friend Al Stewart, who we get to usually see out at training camp. That's when I usually bump into Al over the years, and it's been nice, again, being part of the Jaguar community, getting to know some of these fans on a personal basis. If you are on Twitter, in the Jaguar Twitter sphere, at ScarabY2K is where you'll find Al, and he brought us these fantastic shirts that he put together. So, first of all, Al, I don't know if I would have recognized you, brother, because you have seriously, you've dropped like 65 pounds.
65 pounds, yeah.
Since the Super Bowl.
Since the Super Bowl started, Super Bowl week.
You look fantastic, man.
Feel great.
First of all, you really do, and that means you're in good shape. It makes me feel like that scene. I don't know if you remember the movie JFK, where Kevin Costner, his character, talks about how he tells his son to keep himself in good shape for that one day in like 2030, whatever, where they're going to open the CIA files. Like, we got to get to the new stadium, Al, me and you, right?
That's
We're not
right.
spring chickens.
Exactly.
We got to get to the stadium in the future in good shape here together. But just tell us a little bit. I mean, you and I talk about these. We like to say the sun never sets on Duval County, Duval Pride worldwide. There's so many great little slogans that Jaguar fans can lean into. What made you kind of these couple resonate with you?
Well, I always listen to the show and 24, the station 24/7 pretty much, and listening to the show, and of course that just caught me. You always saying the sun never sets on Duval County.
Yeah.
And, liking the sun never sets on Philadelphia. I like that show too. So,
Well, there is this. It's always sunny in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
There's more like I think it was was Winston Churchill say something about the sun doesn't set on the British Empire,
Right?
Something like that back in the day, and we're trying to take over the world here, Al, with the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Exactly. So, and of course the Duval Pride worldwide. There's just things that you hear and it just gets you, right in the gut. And those two phrases really got me, especially the sun never sets.
I love it. And the style you did with like the It's Always Sunny font and all that. I very much appreciate it. As a fan of the team, and I'll call you a super fan of the team because you're out there.
Yes, I am.
Right? You're out there on social media. You're loving your team. You're promoting your team. We've had a lot of fans in studio here with us or on location with us in recent days. This offseason, how does it compare to what you've seen in your lifetime as a Jaguar fan?
Wow. It's an amalgamation of so much goodness in spite of how the season ended last year. I'm leaning more toward what 2022 ended.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're going to see more of that versus what we saw in the end of 2023. The team's going to congeal considering what they've done through 2023 and learning from the experiences in last season. So I believe through the drafting, the free agency, and even now our veteran leadership that's now coming into their own is going to bring us more to what we saw in 2022 versus what we saw in 23.
The pillars of the team getting their contract extensions,
Oh, yeah.
The stadium deal getting done. I mean, it's just one positive story after another. And Tony and I keep cautioning, still got to get it done on the field. So for you as a Jaguar fan, what will signify success for 2024? How would you define success for this team?
Another winning season would be great, but we need to get into the playoffs.
Division champs?
Oh, yeah.
Is that are you satisfied if they get in as a wild card and win a game, or is it we got to reclaim the AFC South?
We have to reclaim the AFC South, especially with the surgence of Houston. We got to put them back in their place.
Put a boot on their neck,
yeah,
man.
Exactly. They're kind of getting cocky. They're smelling themselves. So we got to give them a cup of settle down. So.
All right, a cup of settle down.
Yeah.
I like it, Tone.
Well, it's kind of a weird space, I think, for a lot of fans. It's been a long time since Jacksonville has had a well enough established team to feel like going into a year we need to reclaim our place at the top of the division. Who's been saying that, right, since 2000, basically? Like, it's been a long time since Jaguars fans have had that kind of thing. The young fans, they don't know what that's about.
Yeah.
They don't know what 96 to 99 was like. To be a Jaguars fan, they're like, I can remember the 3 times I've seen them make the playoffs. That's how. And for some young fans, and maybe I can remember those 2 times I saw them, make the playoffs. But it is a new world.
It is.
For the Jaguars, where that is fine for the expectations for fans to be, let's win the division. They ought to be able to.
And some would think we're off our nut considering that we're having 2 back-to-back seasons and we're going into a rage because we had a winning season, although we kind of regressed. But at least we have 2 winning seasons, and sometimes we lose sight of that. But even though the season ended the way it is, there's too much positivity and too much good stuff that's being built for us to hang our harps on the willow tree thinking that we're going to, sing this sorrow song again.
Look, this is Al's point of view. He's an individual. He's a fan, and there is positivity in having back-to-back winning seasons, but the bar needs to continue to get raised and raised and raised, and hopefully it will in the next few years. All right, Al, again, we appreciate you can hang on as long as you like, but we appreciate you coming in. Thanks for the goodies. And
no worries.
some Jaguar fans who will be gifting some of your shirts to will be appreciative of those as well. So we're going to take a time out here. Al Stewart's visiting us. And again, if you are on Jaguars Twitter and you're not following at ScarabY2K, then you're probably brand new to Jaguars Twitter, quite frankly, all right? I mean, Al's been out there supporting this team in social media spheres for quite a while. We'll bring Demetrius Harvey back in. I've got a bevy of questions that have been submitted for Demetrius, so we'll go rapid fire when we come back. 1 hour in, another hour to go. You're listening to Jaguars Today. Keep it right here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Jaguars
Today.
From the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios of 1010XL.
This is Fred Taylor.
I'm Bill Polian.
This is Daryl Johnston. 1010XL is the hottest radio on the planet.
1010XL.
1010XL.
92.5 FM.
What makes a Honda certified pre-owned vehicle so special? 182-point inspection, 24/7 roadside assistance, first-year free oil changes, and a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty for carefree driving backed by American Honda. Visit your local Honda dealer today.
Right now, you may be running a little late, or feeling stressed, or overwhelmed, and you may be going a bit over the speed limit. So to help you relax, exhale. Ease up on the gas. You'll get there when you get there. Take a moment to just chill. This little break is brought to you by Target Zero and the Florida Department of Transportation.
Did you know a metal roof from Prime Roofing will last 2 to 3 times longer than a shingle roof? If you want a better roof, think metal. Think Prime Roofing. Schedule your free estimate today at primeroofingfl.com. That's primeroofingfl.com.
The flagship station of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Looking for a new or used firearm? Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach will get you locked and loaded. New firearms coming in weekly and always looking for used guns. No lines and no waiting. Online at beachesjewelryandpawn.com.
If you're a veteran, listen up. Did you know that you can access up to 100% of your home's equity right now? Hey, Prosser here. You can do it with Loan Pronto's VA Equity Advantage program. You can get 30, 50, 100 grand or more and use that money to pay off all those credit cards, personal loans, car loans, or maybe use the cash to do that home improvement project. Veterans love working with Loan Pronto because they make it easy. No junk fees, no hassle. They can unlock that cash in your home's equity in a matter of weeks. Don't keep paying insane rates on credit cards. There's a smarter alternative with Loan Pronto. Get more info and start the process now at loanpronto.com. Or if your current VA loan rate is over 6.5%, Loan Pronto can get you in a streamlined refinance with a lower rate right now with no income verification and no appraisal. Lower your monthly payment big time. Loan Pronto makes it so easy for veterans. So call now, 904-999-1508. That's 904-999-1508. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1666781, subject to lender approval.
Jags fans, the Jaguars are back at the Miller Electric Center for training camp. Presented by Dreamfinder. You won't want to miss out. Stop by to get the first look at Trevor Lawrence and the team as they prepare for the 2024 season. To check out camp dates and secure your tickets, go to jaguars.com/training camp. Daily availability is limited, so lock in your tickets today.
How good is that?
Hi, this is Dave Barker. Multi-unit hair grafting is now available at IHRS and can give you 3 times more hair in one procedure over a traditional hair transplant.
Multi-unit hair grafting gave me more hair in one procedure and within my budget.
You can grow your hair back with this exclusive new procedure. Call for a free evaluation. Call IHRS 904-777-IHRS 777-IHRS 777-4477.
Mueller Aaron Plumbing presents
Are You Cool?
Today's challenger, a paint color namer from Jacksonville, Florida. Meet Irving Stapler.
Hi, Howie.
So the next round is word association. I'll say a word and you give me the first word you think of. Engagement ring.
Jeweler.
Gas station.
Fueler.
Aaron Burr.
Dueler.
Air conditioning.
Wow. Jeez. It's a toughie.
Come on, Irv. This monster's going to kill me now.
Oh, Bueller.
That's right, Irv. If your AC is struggling through the summer heat, the first name you should think of for fast, friendly, 5-star service is Bueller Air and Plumbing. The name to know to make sure you are cool.
Have a beer, Irv.
Cooler.
Stay cooler with Bueller. Visit BuellerAir.com.
A lot of companies will tell you they're the best. At Custom Tree Surgeons, they show you every time. Custom Tree Surgeons has built an all-pro team. Every tree service professional has years of experience, continually trained and certified. They know what, when, and how to handle any job. It gets done efficiently and quickly by a team of experts. So for tree trimming, removal, stump grinding, and emergency services, forget any name other than Custom Tree Surgeons. There is no job they can't do better. Go to our website, CustomTreeSurgeons.com. That's CustomTreeSurgeons.com. And let them show you how the job is supposed to get done.
There's certain places you know if you go in, they got what you're looking for, like Gate Convenience Stores and Cold Modelo's. That's the ticket. Or get on the craft side of things with something from Bold City or Sweetwater. Hit the cooler at Gate, full of choices and all of them good.
Hey Jaguar friends, I'm Donovan Darius, former 10-year NFL strong safety for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm hosting my free Tackling Technique Jaguars camp for kids ages 10 to 14 on July the 27th. This Jaguar camp will have some of my former Jaguar teammates out there coaching the kids on all the fundamentals that it takes to be a great tackler. To get involved, just go to DariusNextLevelTraining.com to sign up your kids ages 10 to 14. If you'd like to sponsor, you can go to the same website, DariusNextLevelTraining.com.
Here's your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update. The Jacksonville Jaguars have placed defensive lineman Eric Armstead on the team's physically unable to perform list. He'll miss at least a portion of the team's training camp, but can be activated anytime. Florida football landed a commitment from one of the top wide receivers in the country who decided to keep things in the family. Vernell Brown III committed to the Gators, the team his father played wide receiver and defensive back for from 2001 to 2005. Xander Schauffele picked up his second major victory of the year. He says it wasn't easy.
It's a dream come true to win 2 majors in 1 year. I think winning the first one helped me a lot today. It took me forever just to win one, and to have 2 now is something else.
The Jaguars' Tyson Campbell, with just a few days before training camp, is still without a new deal.
God has time for me to get in the country right now, then it'll happen, and if not, just play the waiting game.
And that's your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update. I'm Sam Nelson.
At 10:58, it's 86 degrees. Time at 10. Brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler, Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Everything you need to know about the Jags. Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
Really missed opportunity on my part here, especially with Dylan throwing a little retro music at us earlier, Tony. On the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures, somebody pointed out, I missed the obvious, Al Stewart, Year of the Cat. I mean, it is come on. Let it be the Year of the Cat. One of these years, Al, you'll get full credit for it being the Year of the Cat when they finally take down the Lombardi Trophy. All right, we've got Demetrius Harvey in studio here with us from the Florida Times Union. At Demetrius82 is where you'll find him out there on social media. We've all seen a trailer for a horror movie where they'll focus in on somebody and they say, the call is coming from inside the house, right? We've seen that. So with that in mind, Gus Logue from right across the hall has submitted one on Twitter here asking you, Demetrius, who plays more defensive snaps this year, Antonio Johnson or Darnell Savage?
Ooh, yeah, that's a good question from Gus. It's going to be interesting to see. I think that for now, I would have to go with Antonio Johnson, if only because he's going to be the starting safety in that they're not going to be a nickel literally 100% of the time. And so with that, you think Darnell's not going to be able to play every single snap. Now, the difference can be, and the reason why Gus is asking this question is because, say, for instance, they want to play Darnell in too high when they're not in nickel. And they want to play Antonio at safety when they are in nickel, and they want to play Darnell down. So if that's the case, then obviously, Darnell's going to have the most snaps. He's going to be on the field every single down. But I think we're just going to have to wait and see. I really don't know, how they're going to configure it. I would guess that Antonio would play more, but I guess, with Ryan Nielsen, you never know.
Is this maybe the most competitive position group when you factor in corner and safety all together, right? Because you got Jarian Jones in the mix here. Hayes Carline has told Tony and I he thinks there's a pretty good chance that he ends up being starting outside corner, maybe sliding into nickel. Do you agree with that? And just like what? Let's say they open up in nickel first day. Give me the 5 players that comprise the secondary.
Yeah, obviously Tyson Campbell, and then you have Antonio Johnson, and then I really do think that obviously Andre Sisco, but I really do think it is going to be a battle between Ronald Darby and Jarian Jones. I think that Jarian is a guy that the coaching staff probably, during OTAs, during minicamp, you can kind of see like this guy can't not be on the field at some point in some capacity. His fastest way of doing that, since they do have Darnell Savage in the nickel, I think that that's pretty solidified right now.
You do?
I really do. I think that what Doug told us at the league meetings, he's going to be the starting nickel. We kind of just didn't take his word for it, which makes sense. You sort of want to be skeptical, especially that early.
Because Jones excelled in that role at Florida State in his last year there.
It made sense, yeah. And the whole time I was thinking, you're going to want to play Jarian inside, and maybe Darnell just can play safety. But now, now that I feel more confidently that Darnell is going to be nickel, I do think there's a spot open for Jarian Jones to sort of take over. Now, a lot of that's going to depend on how does he look compared to Ronald Darby. Ronald Darby is a veteran. He's been in the league for almost 10 years. It's going to be pretty hard for Jarian to come in as a rookie and instill that confidence, in my opinion, to a coaching staff that's new and wants to make sure that everything starts off smoothly. So it might not be right away, but absolutely Jarian eventually outside.
I know earlier in the offseason there was a lot of talk about 3 linebackers and who would the third linebacker be. I think in the modern NFL, you're not going to have to do a whole lot of that anyway. Right. How much do you think the team would prefer their options when they could have 3 linebackers on the field? Do you think they prefer that to let's add a third safety to the field, which would expand the opportunities, obviously, for Antonio Johnson and some of those other guys to play?
Yeah, I would sooner guess the third safety kind of equation. I do know that they do have that same position is open now. It is a thing. Ventrell Miller, Chad Muma are going to be competing for that position. I think that is something that they want to implement, they want to use. Yasir Abdullah is another guy that will be playing Sam this year. So, I think the third linebacker is going to be used more often than it had been in the past. But to me, that's still a position where you're looking at maybe 10% of the snaps, maybe a little bit more throughout the season. It's not going to be something where they're going to be in that 4-3. Honest like the entire time. So to me, that's not too significant, but having a third safety, I could see them bringing in a guy like Daniel Thomas coming down, Dewey, things of that nature. So yeah, I think that it's going to be interesting to see.
A lot of times we tend to focus on personnel because we've seen guys play, right? We know Eric Armstead has been X. We know Mitch Morse has been X. Even if you don't focus on center, you can look at, what the metrics say about how good he is in run blocking and things like that. All that said, when it comes to the addition of Ryan Nielsen, is that potentially the most impactful addition this organization has made this offseason?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's a completely different scheme from the last one. The last one was 3-4, a lot of zone, a lot of off. This is going to be a lot more press, a lot more man. Obviously, not all the time man. I know that that's something that we all harp on. But it's going to be a completely different scheme. 4 down linemen is the standard. The Sam linebacker is back. There are snaps to be had from Ventrell Miller, Chad Muma. So, yeah, I do think that this defense is going to be so transformative or so transformed that that will end up being the biggest offseason move because, the rest of the stuff, putting in a guy like Brian Thomas, he sort of just fits into the offense now. Gabe Davis, obviously that's going to change the offense a bit, but something as transformative as what's going to happen on defense is completely different.
Do you get tired of hearing they signed Gabe Davis to replace Calvin Ridley? Because I get tired of that one. At the time, they're like, no, we're still trying to add Ridley back. If they'd gotten Ridley back, okay, and be it on the franchise tag or obviously a long-term extension would definitely that's a strong comment, would have changed their offseason plan. But what would this first round of the draft have looked like? Would Brian Thomas be a member of the Jaguars, or would they have maybe pivoted to the secondary or some other position?
Yeah, I think it would have been a pivot to the secondary. I think that it would have been probably a Quinion Mitchell if he was there. Was Quinion?
He was there with the original pick. He was
before
there,
the trade
right?
down.
Yes.
Yeah. So, he could have been the pick. I mean, I know that they liked him a lot. I know they liked Terry Arnold a lot. All I do know is that, if they had re-signed Calvin for what he signed in Tennessee or slightly less, I guess, they would not have picked Brian Thomas Jr. in the first round because they had just signed Gabe Davis. They have Christian Kirk. I mean, it would just be a sort of waste of resources.
Yeah, and it's, you can look at it like they drafted Brian Thomas, but they drafted Brian Thomas and Keelan Robinson with one of the picks that they got for the move down, and they still have a 3rd and 4th round pick next year to continue to build this team. As Shad Khan said, you can't live in free agency for sure. We'll get to the phones here in a second. One more from Twitter for you before we do. At Bush Drive, Rich asked, who is your dark horse wide receiver to make this roster this year, that last wide receiver spot?
It's so tough, and I know in my 53 I had Brevin making it, and to me that's sort of just a guy that you just throw in there, just to get away from the Cephas hype. I don't know. It really, there's really nothing that stands out right now from that 6th wide receiver spot. I know everybody likes Elijah Cooks from last year, but to me I didn't see too much during the season when he got the reps. In the preseason, you saw obviously the sort of breakaway and things of that nature. So if I really can't nail down that 6 wide receiver right now. I don't know the dark horse. I guess Cephas is the guy. But
you get Brevin Easton for people who are not that familiar that going that deep. And it's understandable. No, that's okay. I mean that's deep cuts right there when it comes to the Jaguar roster.
And the new kickoff rule does change some things with even what that's going to look like. Like, you're going to have to, obviously, whatever receivers are going to be active on game day, if they're not going to be Brian Thomas Jr., right, which what his role is going to be, Christian Kirk, there's going to be that handful of guys what their role is going to be. If you're not that, then you have to have a big role on special teams. Yeah. And I think Tim Jones fills that role perfectly for him right now. Anyone else that's going to have an opportunity to play, that includes Parker Washington, right? Like anyone else who is going to be involved in that conversation, I'm not sure Elijah Cooks fits that mold as a special teams guy. I don't know if Easton or Cephas can, but if they want to be active on Jaguars game day and be the 6th receiver for the team, they have to show something on special teams that makes it hard for them to not be active.
Yeah, and that's another thing. We don't know the personnel necessarily that they're going to use on kickoffs this year. We really don't know. I've heard that they could go bigger, so it could be more linebackers, more guys that can sort of block, with that high impact right away, instead of flying down the field because you don't have to do that anymore. I've heard that, things will just stay the same. You just still have your sort of safeties like Dewey Wingard, guys like that. So really, we don't know what kind of personnel that they actually want. So it could be that 6th receiver, Tim Jones's role. I'm not going to say it's completely gone, but it could be something where you don't really need it too much anymore. And so if that's the case, do you go with a more developmental player? Do you go with somebody who you're thinking, oh, man, this guy can sort of develop in a couple years? And with Christian Kirk.
Impact the pass-catching core.
Right, exactly. And with Christian Kirk, a couple more years, how his contract's up, do we want to resign? Things like that. I think that that's sort of more in your mind nowadays because of this new kickoff rule, because of how different the personnel will be.
Tony and I are of mind that it may end up by like week 3, everyone's just saying, screw it, kick it through the end zone, right? I mean, especially if you get burned once or twice early in the season. We'll see how that goes. All right, let me get at 641-1010 on the Garber Auto Mall phone lines. Bring up Fan Cam, who's cooking chili for the umpteenth consecutive year. Cam, good morning. How are you?
Hey, good morning, guys. Good morning, D. It's my first opportunity to personally invite you out for a bowl of chili on Wednesday morning, so I hope to see you for some chili over jasmine rice.
I appreciate that. Good morning.
He'll be right outside the gates of training camp, man. Cam's been doing this since the beginning of the organization, Fan Cam. 13 sausage still going in that pot?
Yeah, we try to put together 13 types of sausage, and it's generally more of a daddle pepper to it than habanero, but the habanero just has a ring to it in the middle of July and August for having a bowl of chili. So we've kept that name in place, and we're just looking forward to serve hopefully a couple hundred bowls of chili over jasmine rice to fans, personnel, media. Are you guys broadcasting down from the Palace yet?
I'll be down there, but because of the schedule, I mean, mostly a lot of the practices will be wrapped up before our first hour is done. So I don't know if we'll get a chance to do full shows from down there this year.
That makes sense. Well, I'll have some Tupperware's put aside for you guys. And I look forward to seeing everybody. And Demetrius, it'd be a pleasure to see you down there. Thanks for all the great work covering the team. I appreciate you guys illuminating Balky's brilliance in the offseason. And I think we're poised to have 3 or 4 fantastic years.
All right.
You guys have a great week. We'll see you in a couple of days. Mike, I'll see you on Thursday. You guys have fun.
You'll see me on Wednesday. You see everyone else on Wednesday. You'll see me on Thursday unless I remember to show up. I was promoting the fact that Cam would be doing that next Thursday or this upcoming Thursday. All right. We got Demetrius here to the bottom of the hour, so we're going to take one final timeout. You mentioned your 53-man roster projection. There was something in that really caught my eye, and we're going to lead off with that, and it has to do with the offensive line when we come back here with Demetrius Harvey. If you've got a question, comment, whatever, you can submit it social media-wise, Garber Automall phone lines, text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures, even in the virtual YouTube studio chat as we are back up and running thanks to Mia O'Brien on that front. You're listening to Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today. You're at the home of the Jaguars in the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
There was an idea to bring together a group of remarkable people to see if we could become something more. Who the hell are you guys?
1010XL. Jacksonville Sports Radio.
Nick in here for About 9 Associates, where you'll find Jacksonville's most esteemed eye doctors at each of their locations. After being selected for one of the most competitive ophthalmology fellowships in the world, Dr. Frank Bowden is frequently called upon for his expert opinion. He is currently one of the few cornea and external disease specialists in the area and the founder of About 9. Visit About 9 Associates today and experience the difference. About 9 Associates, keeping the First Coast focused.
Soccer fans, don't miss your chance to see teams from the English Premier League compete in the Stateside Cup right here in Jacksonville. Competition will be fierce when Wolves and West Ham United take the pitch under the lights at Everbank Stadium July 27th. It's Premier Soccer at a premier venue for one night only. Tickets are going fast. Buy yours today at statesidecup.com.
Hey there, Weekend Warriors. It's Matt Hayes. Sick of that slice? Tired of those 3 putts? What if I told you your handicap isn't about your swing, it's about your weight? Why not take strokes off your game by taking pounds off your frame with the Waco 180? We're talking 10 strokes off by August, getting your tour card by September, winning your first major, year 1. Think about it. Fame, fortune, and most important, winning $5 off your buddy because you, sir, are closest to the pin. Taking strokes off your game is just about 40 pounds away at Awaken180weightloss.com. Awaken 180 does not guarantee an immediate 10 strokes off your score, receiving a tour card, or the ability to control the weather. Individual results may vary. Your newfound athleticism might cause jealousy among your foursome, leading to accusations of steroid use. Awaken is not responsible for defending your honor in the clubhouse. Awaken 180 cannot guarantee that your newfound golf prowess will lead to a sponsorship deal, but we can't not guarantee it either. Awaken 180 is not responsible for any dramatic fist pumps or unsolicited golf tips you give to strangers. Awaken 180 does not offer refunds for any lost wagers made on your improved golf game. Bet wisely, my friend. Strokes off your game by dropping pounds off your frame. Awaken180weightloss.com.
Hello, I'm Malcolm Anthony. I've been practicing criminal defense law for over 40 years. It's what I love to do, it's what I do well. Stay out of trouble, but if you don't, call me, Malcolm Anthony, at 285-4LAW. 285-4LAW for Malcolm Anthony.
If the Florida heat is getting you down and you're sweating up a storm, fire up a phone call to Florida Home AC and order an AC tune-up. It's the best way to beat the heat and keep your AC unit working at peak performance. Log on to FloridaHomeAC.com for their tune-up special and make sure you're primed for the peak of that heat. Florida Home AC, the official AC provider of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and just a phone call away at 777-4300. Order that tune-up today.
College football starts here. If you miss any great interviews and reactions from ACC Kickoff, you can catch up or listen again
at 1010XL.com.
Brought to you by the Plumbers and Pipefitters Local Union 234.
And Salvatore's Pizza at Tapestry Park.
This is Greg Huntington, a.k.a. The Mangler. I'm on the winning team at Waste Management. WM is the largest sustainability company in North America. If your business needs sustainable environmental services for waste removal and recycling collection, then you can count on the industry leader of WM to deliver results. Your services will be completed in a timely, safe, and eco-friendly manner. Go to WM.com, and get signed up today. If anyone can talk trash, it's The Mangler. Go Team WM, and as always, Duval!
Sports fans, JJ LaSalva here. When I need to send my bride flowers or a plant for birthdays or anniversaries, I always go with Hume Flowers. After all, they've been the leading florist in these parts for over 75 years. You can always rely on Hume Flowers.
Brian Wall here. Would you take your paycheck, go to the bank, cash it, and then simply throw it up in the air? I didn't think so. But in a way, over the years, that is exactly what you're doing if you have old or builder-grade windows in your home. Even if you have a brand new home, those windows are not the best windows you can have to save on your energy bills. Window World has sold millions of replacement windows to homeowners like you, and Window World's customer satisfaction is the highest in the business. Please check Window World out yourself and save on your new windows and on your energy bills. Compare with other companies and you'll see Window World is simply the best for less. It's up to you. You can call Window World and get a free estimate, get the best guarantee in the window replacement business, save money on your new windows, and save more on your energy bills. Call Window World today at 904-443-7001 or go online to windowworldneflorida.com. Thank you for your business.
Window World also offers energy-efficient doors.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Jaguars Today
on 1010XL.
Dylan is so happy that Al's shirt's the backside that said Duval Pride Worldwide, which is really the graphic of Duval County and all the different areas. The fact that Baldwin is singled out,
shout out,
on the west side. My man is just beside himself right now. He may sleep in this shirt tonight, I have a feeling. North side is out there, Arlington, out east, west side. They're all represented, right? You know, all parts beyond. If you are a Jaguar fan, you're part of the greater Duval County. All right, let's get to it. We got Demetrius for this final segment because he's got some work to do. He does have an actual boss, and it's not 1010XL, so we appreciate the time this morning. The thing that caught my eye in your 53-man roster projection, and I'm paraphrasing here now, if Cam Robinson is not on this roster, okay, I think the perception among Jaguar fans, and we talked about it on the break, Cam brings the nasty. He's the guy he's got the edge. We can't afford to lose. This is the one guy we got to have on the field. Tell me your thoughts on the possibilities or the avenues to which Cam Robinson would not be on this roster this year.
Yeah, I mean, it just depends on how they feel about Walker Little, really. I mean, if they feel like Walker can come in, play the same position, and be healthy the entire time, he's entering the final year of his deal. So is Cam Robinson. Cam is 29. Walker, I believe, is around probably 24-ish or something like that. He's younger. He's more durable, theoretically. And so now you're in a situation where if you want to have long-term, you have to be able to see him. You can't, to me, you can't go into next offseason having Cam, say Cam had started all 17 games, whatever, 19, 20, whatever the case may be, and then you didn't really get anything out of Walker Little. Do you just let him go? Now he's signing with the Bengals for, probably not a great deal for him, but, a modest deal, and then he goes on to play well, and then Cam gets hurt next year or whatever the case may be. So to me, the most ideal situation would be where you can either trade Cam, you can just slowly move on from him, you can just sort of carry him and then also play Walker Little. But to me, I think if you go ahead and go with Walker Little, you have now him at left tackle, you have Anton Harrison at right tackle, and then you have Javon Foster as your swing tackle, which is, for now, that's sort of the role that he can fill.
And what he shows you in training camp is going to be important to this equation as well. That you got to be comfortable with the prospect of him being a heartbeat away from one of those two starting spots.
Yeah, no, especially because it's not like Walker Little hasn't gotten hurt too. He got hurt last year.
Right.
He missed some time. So to me, they put him in an unfortunate situation. I didn't think it was fair to him where, you're starting him at at left tackle, but he doesn't really play that much during training camp. Cam is still there. Then you play him at guard. He doesn't really play that consistently either, because now he's switching over to left tackle, and so now he's just kind of set up to fail. And so now I think that they're in a situation where he can just sort of focus in on left tackle. He's not going to be playing right tackle like 2 years prior. He's not going to be playing left guard like last year. He can just play tackle and see what he's got.
Okay, so that would set up a scenario, potentially. Mm-hmm. We're playing the hypothetical game where your left tackle's not under contract. And you mentioned, we talked about this on the break a little bit, you could always franchise tag Walker a little. Well, right. Tyson Campbell, Andre Sisco, these guys are in the last year of their rookie deals as well. What is the likelihood or the possibility of one or both of them still getting an extension done before this season?
Yeah, I think that Tyson's a guy that I think that they would want to get him done as soon as they could. Ian Rappaport sort of put it out there maybe a week ago or something. He kind of implied Tyson Campbell's a guy that they really like long term. They really want to get this done, blah, blah, blah. And he's the only guy that he singled out. So, that tells me, too, that, that's a guy that they really want to work on. And I think that, knowing what the Jaguars' philosophy is and not to carry distractions, I think that they would want to get that done, ideally before Wednesday. But, at this point, it could get done during training camp. It could get done right before the season starts. And at least that's, I think, where Tyson's situation would be. Now, Andre Sisco, I think that they're going to just let him. I mean, from what I know, and I think I've said this before on this show, that from what I know, they haven't necessarily gotten too deep into any sort of contract situation with him. So I think that they're just going to let it play out, see what he can do, see if he can stay healthy, and sort of go from there.
I do wonder what kind of offer you'd be making to Tyson Campbell at this point, right? Because going into last season, he was a guy that we talked about a lot. Next offseason, they're likely to get a deal done with him and to get a deal done with Josh, since they didn't get it done last offseason. Well, last year played out the way it did for Tyson, and he felt like an emerging player 2 years ago after a disappointing rookie season in a lot of ways, but played really well his second year. His third year, I can't figure out the math on how much the injuries affected it, and I have no idea how neatly he fits into a new defensive scheme, but a new contract would tell you that they feel pretty good about how he fits into the scheme.
I think that they do feel pretty good. I think that they like his intangibles, his physicality, things of that nature. I think that they like what he did in 2022. They really do think that he's a guy that plays more like that than he did last year when he was hurt. So to me, that signals they would want to get it done now. Plus, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but the cornerback contracts really haven't been that outrageous. I mean, I think Snead, I'm not exactly sure what he signed for, but I remember thinking, oh, that's probably just market value, just around the average, what you would expect from a starting ascending corner. It's nothing crazy. So to me, you would want to get it done now before that sort of, balloons again. It's gonna come around. It always does. So, I think that that's sort of the logic there. I think that it makes sense. And also, you don't really want to head into next year without a starting corner.
All right, so get right. And right now, clearly the top guy on the roster, right? And he is a second-round pick. And, if you are trying to have that philosophy of draft and develop, you want to keep your young good players, ascending players. So try to put a number on it between now and the start of the season, because we know Trent Baalke's philosophy is not negotiating during the season. Mm-hmm. What are the chances that Tyson Campbell gets announced with a contract extension?
I would put it, at this point, it hasn't been announced yet, obviously. I would probably say about 60, 70 to 75%. Yeah, I really do. I really do feel strongly that they would want to get this done. It just makes sense. I mean, you get Josh Hines-Allen done, you get Trevor Lawrence done. The most logical thing to me is, he's the next guy. He's the next player out of all of them that are going to be free agents. He's the next one that you would say deserves a contract right now. And so that's it. That's the guy.
Ideally, we've seen the way they've had to use ETN, right, the last couple of years, especially last year with Tank never really stepped up. They had all the issues early on, and they didn't feel comfortable with him being on the field. So ETN was basically the running game. For the football team. He got 75% of the offense, basically, from the running back position last year. Do you expect that number to come down this year, and do you think the number should come down this year? Is the Jaguars' offense any more effective with anyone else taking any of ETN snaps?
I mean, it's hard to say yes right now. I mean, it really is. If you think about it, Tank Bigsby didn't really show much last year. Some of that not his own fault. Some of it was. Dearness Johnson, I mean, he flashed, but didn't really show too much. So to me, I think that's a situation where I think they want Tank to sort of take that load off of Etienne, but would the offense necessarily run better with Tank instead of Etienne? I don't think that's the case, but I do think that there is a situation where Etienne can be spelled some, and then that will help him stay fresh, and then that will allow Tank to sort of do a little bit better.
All right, this may be the last specific question we get to with you today. This is from Noah. Love the Jags, but as long as their approach to protecting the quarterback has replaced a single starter on a bad offensive line, I'm going to manage my expectations and excitement. The left tackle position, as we just discussed, notwithstanding, was there another move? Like they did re-sign Ezra Cleveland, and they feel like he's going to be a different guy compared to the guy he was last year because he'll be a healthier option, right? They did bring back Sheriff, but I think part of it is they want to get a look at Cooper Hodges as a potential long-term inexpensive replacement, and you're not ready to throw him into the fire. And maybe had he played last year or been healthy last year, it would have been a different story. So was there another obvious offensive line move that you would have done or that would have made you feel more comfortable with this unit?
The only other thing that you could do would have been to draft one of the guys at the top, stay at 17, draft a guy and sort of move on. I think Fuaga or one of those guys were there.
Fautanu was there.
Fautanu, sure. Put him in there. So I think that would be the only other move. The guard market was crazy this year. For them to be able to re-sign Ezra Cleveland the way that they did, I thought it was a great move. The contract is not bad at all.
It's like less than half of what some of these guards are getting these days.
And not anything to say against those guards, but they're not necessarily all pros, right? So I think that they did about as much as they could have. They liked Ezra Cleveland. They traded for him, so it makes sense to bring him in. They brought in Mitch Morse, who's a cheap option as a veteran center. They really are banking on this offensive line just actually playing together, staying healthy. That's not something that happened last year, and they really do feel like a lot of the inconsistencies, a lot of the injuries, they went into the season without really a starting left guard. Ben Barch was there, but that wasn't really the case.
Yeah, to be fair to Noah, I think a lot of people have the same concern. So, all that's great, and we understand the plan, but we got to see it in execution. All right, we know you've got some other things to get to, so we're going to cut you loose here in a moment, but just tell us what you're excited about in terms of your coverage and what people can look forward to in the Florida Times-Union.
Yeah, we're going to be, hitting it hard, obviously. We'll have some observations right away. We'll have, the sort of daily story, whatever the case may be, and maybe a notebook. Each and every day during training camp, and, it's pretty much runs consecutively with no days off. So you have a lot to look forward to in the Times-Union, and it should be a really good time.
Oh, and again, follow Demetrius on social media. You probably already do. If you listen to this program, at Demetrius82. But just in case, please do give him a follow and stay abreast of all the latest. He's one of our favorite guys who cover this team on a daily basis. Look forward to seeing you out there this week. I'll be dipping out early to come back because I also have a boss that I've got to, be available to, and but I look forward to seeing him on the field, and just got to keep reminding myself, even no matter what we see, no matter how good it looks, still training camp. No matter how good it looks in the preseason, none of it matters until they suit up against the Miami Dolphins in September. But Demetrius, always a pleasure. Glad you could take more than a few minutes out and join us here in studio. But thanks for the many visits throughout the offseason. Hopefully we can do a few more of these, at least even if it's over the phone during training camp.
Absolutely. I appreciate you guys.
All right. Demetrius Harvey of the Florida Times-Union at Demetrius82. We'll take a quick timeout. Come back. One final segment to go. We'll take a look at the Chad and Sandy real estate question of the day and more coming your way here on Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey here for Dandy Foods. That's right, Dandy Sandwiches, Dandy Subs have been a staple of the Jacksonville menu, the Jacksonville diet, for nearly 70 years. You go to a gate station, you head right to the fresh case, enjoy a little of that AC, and know that Dandy has put out some amazing variety for you. You know what? Maybe you want a big foot-long sub, and they've got so many to choose from. Absolutely up your alley. Maybe you're like me and you're watching your weight a little bit. They've got gourmet salads. They've got protein packs to give you that little energy boost on the go. They've got fruit cups and veggie trays and so many different varieties. My local gate has over 30 different varieties of Dandy and Anytime Deli sandwiches, subs, and just great on-the-go food items. Always fresh, always delicious, made with the highest quality ingredients, and the prices are always going to put a smile on your face as well. Duval is spread out, so as you're driving around and you're getting hungry, think Dandy. That's the name to know, and do what I do when you are. Go out and make yours a Dandy, and do it today.
Jaguars Today.
From the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios of 1010XL. Follow your home team on your home station.
That was just old school smash mouth football.
1010XL, home of the Jaguars.
Catch all the interviews and analysis of this year's ACC kickoff.
Sold out crowd, Doak Campbell Stadium.
Coverage on 1010XL is brought to you by the Plumbers and Pipe Fitters, Local Union 234, and Salvatore's Pizza at Tapestry Park.
Do the Garber Wiggle, Garber Wiggle, Wiggle Wiggle, Garber Wiggle.
If you're looking for a pre-owned vehicle with lifetime warranty, Garber Auto Mall can wiggle it. Best price, best payment, best trade-in value, Garber Auto Mall can wiggle it. With a huge selection of pre-owned vehicles, Garber Auto Mall can wiggle it. Visit us in Green Cove Springs or at GarberAutomall.com. And remember, at Garber Auto Mall, there is always a little room for wiggle.
Garber Wiggle, Garber Wiggle, Wiggle Wiggle, Garber Wiggle.
This July, celebrate America's independence with a fresh view from Renewal by Anderson. Hi, this is Chelsea. Right now, buy any 4 windows or patio doors and get the 5th free. Plus, enjoy 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for 18 months. Our custom-built, energy-efficient windows and doors will enhance the beauty and value of your home. Visit rbafla.com to schedule your complimentary design consultation. Renewal by Anderson, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Expert Automotive is ready to keep you cool this summer. Right now, get an AC inspection or a system cooling checkup. Your choice for only $19.99. Their gift to you this summer is $50 off any service and a free tire rotation with any service. Their ASE certified technicians can keep your car cool without breaking the bank this summer. Call them at 374-3373 to get an appointment today. Expert Automotive. They never sell greed, only what you need.
Right now, you may be running a little late, or feeling stressed, or overwhelmed, and you may be going a bit over the speed limit. So to help you relax, exhale. Ease up on the gas. You'll get there when you get there. Take a moment to just chill. This little break is brought to you by Target Zero and the Florida Department of Transportation.
Sometimes the most important position in sports needs a translator.
I'm Denny Thompson, and they call me the quarterback whisperer.
He shares his insights Friday mornings on The Drill. Brought to you by Tyson Sound and Security and George Moore Chevrolet.
Has someone you care about been arrested or had their driver's license taken away? I'm Susan Cohen, and I work with David Robbins at the law firm of Epstein & Robbins. We are experienced fighters for those charged with DUI, domestic violence, and all criminal offenses. In your battle with the justice system, there's only one thing you need to know. Dial David 24/7 at Epstein & Robbins, 354-5645. 354-5645.
Ross, I'm thinking about changing my name.
Again? You're already the media mogul, the straw that stirs the drink, the Duke of Pablo Bay. Now what?
Refer to me as Dreamfinders Danny Hicken.
What in the blazes? Is this a cash grab?
No, it's just that I believe so much in Dreamfinders Homes. 20 locations in Northeast Florida, official home builder of Jags and Gators. Great opportunity for first-time homeowners.
All right. Dreamfinders Danny it is.
Did I mention the lowest interest rates you can find? Visit DreamfindersHomes.com. Now let Dreamfinders Danny celebrate through the majesty of song. Dreamfinders, I believe they will build your home just right.
Imagine waking up this time next week and being 100% debt-free from credit cards, car loans, and personal loans. Hey, Prosser here. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit can make it happen. Homeowners are turning their home equity into cash almost instantly. With Loan Pronto's AI-based system, you can get approval in about 10 minutes with almost no documentation, no appraisal, and no hassle. You can get hundreds of thousands of dollars out of your home. Use that money to pay off all your other loans. The average homeowner saves over $850 a month doing this. Listen, your home value's way up. You can use that to wipe out all those credit cards. Get some money for a home improvement. Literally hundreds of thousands are at your fingertips, and approval is just minutes away. So call now, 904-999-1508. 904-999-1508, or go to loanpronto.com. NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, equal housing lender.
If you're an experienced, skilled plumber or welder that's MedGas certified and you're tired of working for a company that just doesn't treat you right, Local 234 is the place for you. Their pay is the best in the business. You'll walk away with $35.09 an hour in your pocket. With benefits, that's just over $50 an hour. Local 234 has been around since 1901, and that means something. Visit UA234.com to send your resume. Local 234. Make the right connection.
Did you know a metal roof from Prime Roofing has the highest wind and impact ratings available? If you want a stronger roof, think metal. Think Prime Roofing. Learn more at primeroofingfl.com. That's primeroofingfl.com.
You know, Santa's on the beach this time of year, but the elves at Beard's Diamonds have been busy.
It's Christmas in July at Beard's Diamonds. Everything store-wide is on sale, up to an unbelievable 40% off.
Don't buy anywhere until you shop Beard's Diamonds.
The coolers are full at your local gate gas station, making it easy for you to cruise in and cruise out with little downtime. Ice cold Coronas, Natty Light, Stella Artois, and Michelob Ultra. Don't forget the king of beers, Cold Buds. Gates got them in the cooler, waiting for you.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
All right, we appreciate Demetrius Harvey joining us in studio because, well, he's awesome, and we love him, and he covers the team very well for the Florida Times-Union. He is off to do his day job now, and we'll see him out there at training camp. 16 open training camp practices, Tony, but we'll get to today's question today. It's still a reminder that, you know, for all the folks who can make it out there, the majority of fans are taking it in the old-fashioned way, right? They're listening and they're reading about the ongoing stuff, and they're going to watch the preseason games and then, really kick it into gear once the season starts.
Look, and if I was a fan thinking about attending, I'd be circling the 2 days when Tampa's in town, doing the practices.
Joint practices,
you know, like those would be the days I'd want to go if I could figure out a way to go, but we're a few weeks away from that happening.
No surprise, by the way. You got to go to jaguars.com/training camp if you're going to go out. Tickets are free, but you do have to have a ticket because there is, ultimately, there's a limit to how much space there is, right? And the fact, really, some of those dates are already sold out, and they're the ones you would expect. The season ticket holder practice, I believe, is sold out. And at least one, if not two, of the weekend ones. I mean, I get it. I was stunned, and I know you were on assignment, but we mentioned it several times during the broadcast last Thursday. Did not know that the throwbacks were going to be available in the Team Pro Shop until Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
And people work, man. You know what I mean? Like, people are working right now. Sometimes they listen to the show later on. They listen to the replay, whatever the case may be, or you're listening, but you're at work and you've got business to take care of. The fact that hundreds of people were out there mid-morning with almost no advance notice to get their hands on that was fantastic. All right, now let's take a moment here and go around the rest of the National Football League.
Now, Gems Around the NFL, brought to you by Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jax Beach.
Houston is signing running back Cam Akers to a deal. Green Bay has signed nose tackle Kenny Clark to a 3-year, $64 million contract extension. Packers GM Brian Gutekunst said today that he is optimistic about the team getting a deal done with Jordan Love, but did say that Love will not be participating in practice there at training camp until that deal gets done. Two-time Pro Bowler and two-time Super Bowl champion edge rusher Shaquille Barrett announced his retirement from the NFL after 9 seasons this weekend. Barrett had signed with Miami in free agency this year after playing the last 5 seasons with Tampa Bay. Spent the first 4 years of his career in Denver. The Dolphins are hosting free agent defensive ends Emmanuel Ogbah and Yannick Ngakoue for visits today after Barrett's retirement announcement this weekend. The New Orleans Saints and exclusive rights free agent wide receiver Rashid Shaheed agreed to a 1-year $5.2 million deal this weekend. Baltimore sent quarterback Lamar Jackson home from training camp practice yesterday due to an illness, but nothing serious there. Kansas City wide receiver Xavier Worthy, who missed OTAs due to a hamstring strain, was back out on the practice field for the Chiefs this weekend. Head coach Andy Reid said after practice yesterday that Worthy feels better, which is evidenced by him being able to participate in practice on Sunday, I would think. New York Giants quarterback Daniel Jones says that he expects to be a full go for the start of training camp this week. Jones was only able to play in 6 games last year due to an ACL injury he suffered in November after missing 3 weeks before the day he got hurt there with a neck injury last season as well, but expected to be able to go when training camp opens up here for the Giants.
You know, with the Jags opening with the Dolphins, the Dolphins are beat up as you've got guys that had season-ending injuries last year that are on the physically unable to perform list. Like week 1 could be a great week to catch them. Right now, Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips among those who are not able to be healthy enough to practice for the team. I know certain corners of Jaguar fandom out there were excited about Shaq Barrett going down the retirement road. Wish he would have decided this like right at the end of camp, right? As I look at it, I'm like, man, there's still some decent, pass rushers out there. Emmanuel Ogbah played for the team. He was a salary cap casualty for the Dolphins this offseason. And then, I don't need Yannick Ngakoue and Calais Campbell both on that field for the Miami Dolphins looking for a little, working it up in their heads, Jaguar revenge, even though none of them were done wrong here.
And this is actually, if Jan were to sign with Miami, say in the next couple of days, this would be at least a week earlier than he did last year with Chicago.
Right.
He didn't sign till the first week of August last year with the Chicago Bears. This has almost become the yearly Yannick Ngakoue thing. It's been a weird series of seasons for Yannick since he got out of Jacksonville.
He's a very specific guy. He's a pass rusher who gives you almost nothing against the run.
Yep.
So you've got to have that role available. And, you can always say, well, pass rush is this. It's always in demand. But Jan, I think, still sees himself as, every down impact player.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why he's bounced around as much as he has since he's left
What percentage of
Jacksonville.
snaps did he play in Chicago last year?
I am not sure, but I'm sure you will dig that one up.
72%.
That's a bunch.
Yeah.
That's a bunch.
He has played 72, 73, 72%. In Jacksonville, he played 66, 74, 75, 80. Basically, his snap share has not changed to this point in his career. It's basically not changed. It's just he's getting signed late in the process. Every year. Wherever he goes, he wins a starting job, and he's their guy.
All right, let's look at, we've got a few minutes at today's question of the day. Dylan, if you'd be so kind to fire up the 10-10 take.
10-10 take. Now, Mike Dempsey's 10-10 take. Brought to you by Leonard Truck Accessories.
This is a good reminder, today's question of the day, just to put things into perspective. It's difficult. People have jobs. People have lives. People are excited about Jaguar football. That doesn't mean you can be in attendance to every single thing that happens in the offseason. Now, with that being said, I bet those stands are packed for just about every open practice. And there are enough folks out there making up the fan base that they will fill it. But, we have over 300 votes on this asking today, how many training camp practices do you plan to attend in person? And again, we're speaking specifically to our audience that some of them are international, others are spread out throughout the country. Those people are going to say 0, right? Because it's just not, they don't live in Duval County proper. But it's a reminder, 63% said, no, I'm not going to make it out to any of them. About 28% said they'll make it to 1 or 2. Those are probably weekend practices. But I guarantee you, when I look up in the stands on Wednesday, It will be packed out there. 3 to 4 got 5.6 and only 3.3% of the people responding. So that's about 10 people out of the people who voted said they'll be at 5 or more. That doesn't mean everyone who's going to be out there are necessarily voting in any one given poll.
Right. And it's a reminder that, the schedule has changed for training camp practices. They used to basically be during the show. So we'd have the opportunity to go out there, broadcast, do the show from out there somewhere at training camp, and fans could come interact with us. And it's countless the number of fans we would interact with at those events at a training camp. The number of them that said, I've never been to a game, but I get to come out here and see my team for free, right? Like, there is something to that. It's not easy to figure out game day for a lot of people here in town. This is a free event to go see the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Right, it's expensive, right? If you, relatively, depending on what your own budget is to buy, because you're not going by yourself generally, so you got 2 tickets, you get concessions, and I understand you can bring food in. Not everybody takes advantage of that, right?
Absolutely.
You still have to pay for parking. There's still transportation. There's a lot that goes into it, and granted, I want that place packed as often as possible. And the other side of the coin, at Screeve904 on social media said, I signed up for every single one, every single practice. And there is that side as well. And there are enough of those folks out there that will pack the place to be sure. And we don't doubt that for a second. Want to throw out, while we got a minute, what tomorrow's question today is going to be. Last week, we talked about your top 5 reasons for optimism for the Jags as they head into training camp. Tomorrow, we're not, going to try to give it fair consideration. The other side of the coin, what are your top 5 concerns that you have? And they may not be able to be answered during training camp. And we keep harping on this. Offensive line, I think, is a valid concern. You can be excited about the fact that they signed Mitch Morse, and that made our top 5 last week, and that they have a plan on the offensive line. But at the same time, you're going to have the trepidation of, is that plan going to work, right? And because in the bottom line, if the offensive line doesn't get the push in short yardage, if Trevor is harassed and leading to more ball security issues in the pocket, and what have you, they're going to look and they're going to say, well, what did you expect? All you did was replace one guy on an offensive line that wasn't that great to begin with.
Like, we'll have our top 5s tomorrow, but I wouldn't be surprised if a couple of things I had on the list last week show up on my list tomorrow somehow.
Both sides of the coin.
Right, like from a different angle on whatever that's going to be. And I think it speaks also to generally, and I can think of a couple of those spots that may be on my list, it's going to be because of how important I think they are, right? And they may have made some changes on those spots. That doesn't mean they're set. I still have questions about what it's going to be. Last week was about the optimism of this is what it could be if it all works out for them. With this is the direction they want to go with it, and tomorrow will be a little bit more of the, this is what it'll look like if it doesn't. And that's how much of a concern it is. It should be.
A few on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures. Chris and Mayport, FYI, I got tickets for every day of camp as well, just because I'm so damn ready for football. We're so damn ready to see you out there, Chris, and I hope you enjoy it. Another one, plan to attend 3 sessions, including the practice against the Bucs. That's from Shep. Hey, look, again, it doesn't make you a good or bad Jaguar fan. If you can make it out to practice. Circumstances are what they are. You got life to worry about. This is, ultimately practice. We're talking about practice, Tony, okay? Not a game, not even a preseason game, but practice. So I understand that. Let's see. What else do we have here? Cisco deserves a contract. Well, we'll see if it comes to pass. And I like this one. Listening from Roatan, Honduras, lying by the pool. I'm guessing that person's not making it to Wednesday's practice.
Probably not,
at the very least. I don't know if they're from Jacksonville, but, we appreciate you listening from Honduras. As we say, Duval Pride Worldwide. The sun never sets on Duval County. And big thanks to our man, Al Stewart, for printing that up for us. And in the days ahead, we'll give a select few of you a chance to get your greedy paws on some of those T-shirts that he printed up. So, Dylan, we're about down to the home stretch here. Why don't we wrap it up?
Now, the cool down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, keeping Jack's cool since 1987.
I think in discussing these things that we're just laying out there, Tone, again, it's a reminder. Not everything's going to get answered for us, at least to our satisfaction, during the next 6 weeks or so, because we're going to see things, and we're going to think, oh, that's really good or that's really bad. And, even in the joint practices with the Bucs, that gives you a little bit better gauge because you're going up against people that don't have your best interest at heart. But until they get on the field against the Miami Dolphins, you're really not going to know. That doesn't mean we're not excited about training camp. I mean, we just made it through the dead period, brother. So now we actually have them on the field in uniform, throwing the football around.
We'll hear from
breaking
somebody
up passes,
every day.
whatever,
Yeah.
right? And we'll hear from Doug. We'll hear from Trevor. We'll hear from the stars of this team and the up-and-coming players as well with the wall-to-wall coverage on 1010XL. I'm ready about it, man. I'm ready about it. I'm ready for it. I'm all about it. I'm ready about it. I think that's a new T-shirt slogan, Al. Just keep that one in mind. I'm ready about it for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Look, again, we get enthusiastic. We're not trying to overhype you. None of what we have said has a single bit of bearing on what they do this year. But we try to lay it out, the good, the bad, the best and the worst case scenario, and everything in between. So we hope to see you out there, as many of you as we can, out at training camp. And we hope, for me, I hope, number one, just keep all these guys healthy. The guys who are ultimately going to be counted on to make an impact for this football team this year. That is job number one, to make it through unscathed, so we're full strength, ready to go against the Miami Dolphins. That's going to wrap it up for us today. I appreciate my man Al Stewart at ScarabY2K on social media. Give him a follow. I know a bunch of you already do, for popping in. Of course, the great Demetrius Harvey of the Florida Times-Union at Demetrius82. For Tony Smith, the assignment is over. For Dylan Denmark, the family is all back together. I'm Mike Dempsey. Helmets and Heels is coming your way. Jaguars Today returns tomorrow from 10 to noon right here.